there's an argument to be had that for a track like this, I shouldn't need to do much side chaining because the kick and the bass are really driving the record the whole way through. Before I talk about the plugin, what is really important? You know, I was saying before about I'll pick your samples. When it comes to kick and bass, the relationship between them shapes your bottom end of the mix. So the way I try to think in the mix, but I would encourage producers to think about when they're making the song, is to pick where your kick and your bass are sitting. So is your kick drum like 30 to 60 hertz and it's like the low end, like thump, like the right kind of in your chest kick drum? Or is it like 100 hertz plus, like 80 to 150, where it's more of a kind of like knock, and then you can add the top end, which is more clicky? Or is your bass like a real sub bass? Or is it more like 100 to 200 hertz and it's more on top? Like, they shouldn't be clashing. They shouldn't both be at 100 hertz because it's just going to fuck your low end up. So I always try and pick like where each of them sit. So this one, I think the kick was already like even if I remove that, right, the kick was around there. Yeah, I could have had it more at 100 as well. And then I think that means that I would have done, what would I have done on the bass? Yeah, and then I've rolled off below 80 and I've done a boost at 100. So the bass is like above where the kick drum is sitting. So regardless of those frequencies, just try and pick where each of those sit in relationship to each other. Like personally, I feel as though it makes everything a bit muddy and not kind of coherent when they're hitting at the same points. And then yeah, with Soothe, so I have the side chain here going to the bottom kit here. So it's taking a signal from this bus, meaning every time the kick and the snare hit, it's dipping, and I can set, if I wanted it to affect all of it, you know. But I just want the real, I just want the frequencies where the kick is most prominent, which was at 50 hertz. So I might roll down to like, yeah, I mean, it was probably at like 80 or 100 or something before I started tinkering. And it's just, yeah, it's just allowing those low frequencies from the kick to cut through without the bass interfering. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. But it's really useful. And the attack, I have it fast, so it comes in straight away and releases very quickly as well. Mix is at 100%, so you can do it at like 50% as well, but yeah, that just affects how much it dips by. And you can do this button down here, delta, so you can just hear what it's doing to the bass. But it's a cool little tool. It's not as useful for genres of music like this. Like if you're doing like a pop record or a dance record where you really want the kick to come through, then it's really useful. But I still like using it. It's kind of a cool little trick.